Welcome back to the Reasonable Podcast. I'm a host, Charlie Dixon. It's also a host,
Callum Dolby.
Welcome to the podcast. This episode is going to be called Humble Beginnings because this is where we're starting.
Yep.
Let's start with an introduction.
Okay.
How we met.
That's easy enough.
Easy enough. How long ago was it roughly?
3 or 4 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago. We was at our friend's house.
Yeah.
Just had a couple of conversations. And
Just chilling. Yeah. And we thought like we had a pretty good connection, you know. The stuff we were interested about, we piqued each other's interest with certain topics and certain conversations. It wasn't just your standard sort of mundane conversations that, oh, you know, how are you doing today? Oh, weather's been nice. It's not about that, is it? It was more deep than that, and we had a deeper connection.
Intellectual conversation, which is what I like in people. Why we decided this was a good idea, and that kind of links into sort of what we were just saying. The reason we're doing this is because we can hold that intellectual conversation. We are able to, you know, we feel like we are capable of putting it out in the world. A lot of people would have a lot of opinions about stuff that we talk about on a day-to-day basis, and we sometimes just sit there and think we should have just done a podcast and had this conversation online, because it would pique a lot of people's interest. I'm hoping there would be a lot of conversation about the sort of stuff we're talking about. A little bit about ourselves. I'm 27 years old.
I'm 24.
I was 24. Our location, we are based in UK Midlands, England. And that's pretty much it for about ourselves, really, to be honest.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I've had a pretty standard upbringing. No complaints, really. You know, I'm just a standard guy. But I feel like I can have a good conversation about deeper topics than most. So, you know, that's me.
Yeah, a bit about myself as well. I didn't have the best of upbringing, but yeah, again, can't complain. It wasn't great, but it also wasn't bad. So
you make it of it what it is, really, don't you?
Yeah, 100%. And that's pretty much it from about ourselves. I do have a few notes here. Obviously, this is our first.
Yeah, this is going to be like.
This is so raw.
It's so raw. Yeah,
it's so
like,
raw.
We were speaking about this before, like how we'd sort of perform when we're on camera, and we've got people, well, potentially people watching. Hopefully people actually watching. You know, we didn't really know how it was going to go, so we thought we'd just sit down and try and have a conversation. But when you know that you're recording for a podcast, it is kind of like awkward.
It's that stigma, isn't it? That camera just being there, and we're having that conversation.
And I'm trying not to look at it, but it's just there. It's staring at me.
Yeah,
it's staring at me. I don't like it, but I do like it.
You do like it, Dolby, because this is going to be a good podcast. We're going to have great conversational topics on this podcast, and obviously, if we're talking about anything that sort of fancies, you know, tickles your pickle, have your comments in the comment section below. Have that conversation.
Yeah, give us ideas as well. Give us ideas as well if you want us to talk about a certain subject. Don't be scared to, you know, write us a comment or whatever and just say what you want us to talk about. And
there will be segments in the podcast that we do. So we've got this idea.
We've got a kind of rough idea of what we want to do.
Yeah, we've got a rough structure of how we think this podcast is, how it's going to go. Mm-hmm. Obviously, we can't guarantee it. I need the notes on there. Again, this is completely raw. So yeah, it's just sort of easing into the online world in relation to conversation.
And like if you guys are here from episode 1, you'll definitely see us grow in confidence, grow in sort of conversational abilities in front of the mic and stuff like that. So if you guys are still watching when we're a year or two, you guys are real ones.
For sure. Know. How many YouTubers do you watch online that you saw them when they literally had like maybe 100 subscribers?
Probably like 1.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's like everyone has that one person that they've subscribed to, haven't they? That they've been there since like 1,000 subs, and now they've got like millions.
Definitely.
And you can definitely see like the evolution of where they've come as a content creator. It's a little bit harder on a podcast, isn't it, though? Because like you're talking for such extended periods of time, but with YouTube videos you can sort of like, you can say like a sentence cut.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. You know, you can edit. You can basically portray to the world exactly what you want them to think.
Yeah, but this is who we actually are.
Yeah, it's completely raw,
and it's quite. I guess it's quite scary when you think of it like that, isn't it? Like you're letting people into your actual personality, not like some made up persona.
Exactly. I mean, we're literally in my house. We've turned the camera on. Yeah. We've semi-structured a
sort of. We've got a couple of topics we want to talk about, but apart from that, we just thought, let's just get started and see what we can talk about and see what we can do.
Yeah, actually, speaking of which, the boxing.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's talk a bit about the boxing.
Tommy Fury, Jake
Tommy
Paul.
Fury and Jake Paul.
So, first of all, did you watch it?
I did.
I watched it as well. I rushed home. I was at the bowling with my friends, and it got to about 10 p.m. I was like, shit, I need to get home now. Like,
Yeah.
And I got home just as the...
I know you texted me, you were like, I don't know if I'm going to make it.
I don't know if I'm going to make it, yeah. I got home just as the Cruiserweight title match was finishing. Did you watch that?
I did, that was...
Okay, let's talk about that first then, because I didn't actually... I only watched the end of it.
Badu Jack. I'm glad he got the win.
Yeah.
He deserves it. He's a 3-division belt holder, title fighter now.
Can we talk about how crazy that is?
That's
like,
insane.
Like, 3 weight. Like,
3 weights at the age of 39 as well.
Everyone praises Usyk for stepping up in weight as well.
Yeah.
But for him to do it in 3 different weights, it's mental. It's like obviously McGregor changed weight in UFC as well, and he won the titles there.
Yep.
And it's so, like, you don't know how much effort you have to put into recomposition your body to get to the certain weight.
Well, you think about it, it can't be healthy, can it? I mean, you
No.
think about it, like, you're training that heavily for a fight,
Yeah.
and, you know, to make weight at your natural weight is you know, say Floyd Mayweather fighting at his natural weight, he's going to perform a lot better at that weight.
Of course.
When you're going up or down, and you know, you're trying to put on 20 pounds for the next division, you know, in my heart I believe that was a sleeper fight. That needed a lot more sort of conversation, needed a lot more hype around it.
Yeah. That's crazy, because it's like, I mean, it was co-main event, right?
I believe it was just undercard.
See, that's crazy.
It's
isn't it?
crazy.
Like, to the boxing purists, like, I'm sort of in both camps. I think you are as well. 'Cause
I am, yeah.
We both, and we also watch the actual boxing.
Actual boxing,
You know,
yeah.
like we saw Carl Froch on BT Sport, and he was doing all the sort of quotation marks. He was
Yeah.
talking about influencer boxing. And
we've seen it time and time again, haven't we? We've seen
Yeah,
it when influencer boxing has rubbed elbows with the real boxing world.
Yeah.
You know, people like David Haye, like he had, you know, everyone's had their own say in the real boxing world.
But then you get the other side of it as well, because you get the boxing, actual boxers that really roll with it. Like Chris Eubank Jr. was like a presenter on the last Misfits card.
Oh yeah.
So
yes.
like he really enjoys it, and I heard him talking on another podcast, and he was saying that he just, you know, the more eyes on boxing the better, because realistically it was a dying sport at one stage.
It was. I mean, to be honest, I mean, we watched boxing even before this whole influencer boxing sort of spell arose, and I can, you know, there was obviously an audience ready to be tapped in there. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been that successful.
Because like a younger sort of audience, if they weren't introduced to a boxing at a young age, they wouldn't then just randomly sort of start watching it, would they? Really, because like.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, there was obviously a market for it.
You've just got to tap into it differently, because you know, the classic boxing world wasn't really going in heavy on social media and stuff like that.
No, and you think these fighters are putting their life on the line. Every time they get in the ring, they're putting their life on the line. You want them to get paid, but that money comes from the fan base. It's the amount of eyes that are willing to pay for that pay-per-view. That's where they get their paycheck, and they're putting their lives on the line to entertain us. You can see why.
And their paychecks, like some of them are shocking as
Yeah,
well. Like
not
the
even
undercard.
yeah. I mean, you've seen not heavyweight. You've actually seen title fights where fighters have got paid 150 grand.
Yeah, that's
for
shocking.
title fights.
Yeah, that should be like millions easily. I mean, apparently Tommy Fury got like 4 million for that fight.
I saw 3 million.
I think he got like 3.7 or something, and then Jake got like 9.
I thought he got like 30.
No, he got about 9 or 10.
Was it?
Yeah.
But that's 3 times
when it was the press conference, when he tried to make the bet, he was like, because obviously it's his promotion as well as MVP.
MVP, yeah.
/ BT Sport, as you know, they did like a collaboration on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was saying in that press conference before the fight that he said, like, you know, when he made that bet, when he was like, oh, if you win, I'll double your money or whatever like that, because he said, I'm getting paid 9 million, but if you win, you get the 4 million double sort of thing. So yeah, obviously he's going to pay himself more, because realistically he obviously, not in terms of boxing, but in terms of a global
viewership,
presence, he's got more clout. You know, you could say clout.
There wouldn't have been that much millions in the pot for any fighter to take if it weren't for his involvement. Let's be honest. That's the truth of the matter. I think it's good for boxing because it has to rub elbows with them. This is we look at an evolution of the sport. You know, we've seen evolutions in football. We've seen boxing is going through their evolution into a changed world, the technology world, the social media world. It's the revive I believe boxing needed. Look how many people that tune in to watch their favourite influencer fight.
I mean, I even went to one.
Yeah, you actually went to, what was it, the Misfits 3, wasn't it?
KSI when he fought Pineda and Swarms in one night.
Misfits 2.
I thought it was 2 or 3.
It's 2 or 3, isn't it? I can't remember.
I think, no, it was the first one, wasn't it?
Did he fight on the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did. No, sorry, yeah,
it was the first one, because I remember I put an Instagram post, been to Misfits 001, so it must, obviously it was the first one, and I mean, that was crazy. We went to the O2, which is one of the biggest arenas in the UK.
What's that, like
16,000.
Yeah.
I mean, even like professional boxers sometimes don't even sell out that arena.
No.
At all. I mean, we saw obviously a couple of days ago Floyd Mayweather in his exhibition against that Aaron Chalmers who's on Geordie Shore or something.
Yeah.
What is that about?
I think that's just Floyd picking up the bag, isn't it? At the end of the day, he's doing exactly what these influencer boxers are doing.
Did you see any pictures of the crowd?
No.
Oh mate, it was so bad. There was like
really?
no one there, bro. Honestly, I think that was the O2 as well, and there was like no one there. And you're comparing that to KSI. Obviously KSI is a massive name, but he's selling out arenas for boxing.
And that's what it is. Like, they're not necessarily purchasing the tickets to watch the boxing.
I didn't purchase the ticket thinking I'm gonna see some very good boxing, because a lot of it was shit.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Like,
it actually was. Like,
yeah,
it
you
really
see
was.
obviously on these cards, some of the fights are debatable. You see people doing Fortnite dances in the middle of the ring and things like that, and it's like, I don't agree with that. I think there does need to be a level of professionalism, because it is a sport. You know, this is boxing. We can't. Boxers always say you can't fake or play boxing. You have to live it. You have to breathe it, and all that sort of stuff. And I think it does need to be taken a little bit more seriously from some of these influencers. But I think it's good for the sport in general.
I think so. I mean, like, my dad, for example, is like a real hardcore boxing fan. And he doesn't really like the influencer boxing. Whenever I say I'm going to watch this event or whatever, he always takes a piss. But I'm just like, if it brings more eyes to boxing, how can that harm it?
I don't see how it can be bad.
It can only gain. There's no downside there. I mean, it might be a bit more cringy, but that sort of side, like, you don't have to watch it.
But it's entertaining, isn't it?
It's entertaining.
And you seem to forget these. A lot of these influencers have a younger audience in terms of, like, younger teenagers and all that sort of stuff. When these teenagers grow up, that seed has been planted into their head because they've been watching boxing because their influencers are boxing. Now, although it might not be at the professional level, of like Canelo Alvarez and all that sort of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's still boxing.
It's getting eyes on it.
And when these young teenagers grow up, they're going to be,
mature.
When they're mature, they're going to actually probably look at the actual boxing.
Yeah.
And pick a fighter and support him, and that can be nothing but good for the actual boxer.
Yeah.
If we're looking at the timeline of evolution of boxing, that is it. It's being able to get that younger audience to eventually mature and watch the big fights with the big fighters and all that sort of stuff. And I think in general it's good for the fight. I do want to talk about Creed 3.
Okay, that's you. This is a you thing.
Creed 3. Now, I saw this was.
I've seen the first two, but I'm not really a massive movie guy, as you know.
Yeah.
That's one thing as well. I'm not really like. I'll come around here and I'll be like, and Charlie will be like, "Oh, you've seen this?" I'm like, "Nah, bruv."
He's never seen anything that I've seen, and never.
But I've seen both of the Creed films. I really like, because I like sort of sports films.
Yeah.
So yeah, I have seen the previous two, and I'm really really excited for the next one.
I'm so buzzing for Creed 3 to see the trailer on a Jake Paul fight. Like,
oh mate,
the fact that Most Valuable Promotions got the link with BT Sports and get the Creed 3 trailer to be sort of first hosted on that fight. I just think that's amazing for boxing. I think that's crazy. You've got the best boxing movie trilogy, debatably, that was ever made.
It's the biggest boxing film since Rocky, isn't it?
Well, since Rocky, yeah, of course. But we're talking about the younger teenagers these days. Yeah. They might not have seen all of the Rocky films.
I haven't seen them all. I just know they were massive.
Yeah, absolutely massive. Great films, by the way. But I just think Creed is so good for boxing in general, and to see how it all ties up together in this boxing story of the sport.
Yeah.
I think it's really, really good. You know, it's like seeing a Champions League game and seeing, you know, a crazy football movie being made, and the first time it's viewed is on that Champions League final game or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's got the weight like
It's all
that
interconnected.
Yeah, and I think that's amazing. I think that's great. But yeah, I'm so buzzing for that film.
One thing I do find cringe, like I really like the Creed films, like the scenes and stuff, but the scenes I find really cringy is the actual fights.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, when they're actually fighting, and it's just,
really like
it's so weird.
It's like it's not. You can tell because it's crazy fighting, isn't it?
Yeah,
like the boxing
they're just
smacking
smacking each other.
Good, like,
yeah, they're just smacking each other in the head.
the
like,
boxing generally looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Like the best fight you've ever seen because it's all just been edited and
Yeah.
and every punch has been calculated
straight to the head, like all of them. Like,
yeah, and they're
it's so-
taking about 300 punches to the face per round. And
he's got him in the corner, like, yeah, keep going. His fucking face is like absolutely fucked.
Mashed.
Like, yeah, absolutely mashed. It's like, it is a bit cringy. It's like I've seen another. There's another film about football called Goal, and it's like Santiago Munez, and he, like, every time when it's an actual football match, like every time he gets the ball he scores. Like, it's just like every single time. Like, that's not a thing. Like,
No.
every time he touches the ball, just bangs it top bins from like 40 yards out.
yeah, I did always think when I watched the first Creed film, I was like, it would be an interesting concept if one of the films where he lost and then the second film was his redemption.
Yeah.
We haven't really seen that. We haven't seen a movie where, you know, the hero effectively just loses.
Didn't Rocky lose?
Yeah, but I think he was in the same film. He come back in the same film, so
you mean like the ending of one film is like just everything's shit?
Everything's
basically.
crap. Yeah, like.
But that's not the fucking. That's not the story they're going for, is it?
No.
They're going for the redemption. They're going for the fucking.
Well, in Creed 3, he's the storyline, isn't it? It's like it's his old mate that, you know, he was practically brothers with, and then I think he sees Creed is in the corner of another boxer, and his like a younger boxer from his gym, and his opponent one day is being coached by his mate, the guy who he once considered his brother, and I think when they got in the ring in the trailer, they were like, yeah, we've been brothers for life and all this stuff, but we're about to settle it in the ring. He's about to fight one of his oldest best mates, and I think that storyline is it's insane.
Yeah,
because of how Creed's been up to today.
They did borrow like a tiny bit of that aspect. There's a game, a boxing game called Fight Night Champion on the Xbox.
Oh right,
if you've ever played that.
I didn't play it.
But the storyline is that obviously in Creed they're like best mates, but in the game they're actually brothers, and like the main fight you do at the like near the end is like your brother turns on you and he goes on and wins like a title while you're in prison.
Yeah.
And then you come out of prison and you fight him, and then you have to fight the champion. So I think they maybe borrowed a little bit from that as well.
Potentially.
But I guess it is an easy story to write, and you see that a lot in films and TV shows where, you know, betrayal and, you know, these once best friends. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But like, yeah, I don't know. I think.
But yeah, really excited for that film.
But to circle it back round, we didn't actually talk about the fight.
Oh yeah, the Paul Thomas fight.
We didn't even talk. We just went on a massive.
I think but I think that's because we're talking about we like boxing.
Yeah, we
in
like
general.
boxing,
We just like boxing.
What you guys are probably here for, the actual up to date topical stuff. Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul. 8 rounds. What do you think of the fight, mate?
I still don't really know what to think.
Okay.
I'm glad Tommy won.
Yeah.
I think you are as well, aren't you? We're glad Tommy won.
I supported Fury 100%.
It wouldn't have been a good. It's not good for Tommy's career, I don't think, if he had lost that fight.
Mate, realistically, like, he went down the route of the amateurs and he went down the route of all that, you know, following his family.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up through the amateurs, started being pro, obviously a lot of people like to talk about like the other people's records that he's fought, but everyone does that.
Mm-hmm.
But like you look at Tyson Fury's first 10 fights, you look at Mayweather's first, they're all against.
They have to go through the journeyman stage.
Yeah. They have to beat the journeyman.
Yep.
Or if they go 10-0, beat all the journeymen that are like 3 and 167. You know what I mean? That every boxer does that, so I don't really get that sort of criticism. But
I don't get the criticism. I think that's mainly coming from obviously the Fury name has a lot of weight, and it's got there's a lot of people out there that support his brother. And the thing I actually quite like about Tommy is he knows this.
Yeah.
He knows his brother is
massive.
This massive boxing, the best boxer in the world, and all this sort of stuff, and debatably best boxer that ever lived. That's the type of weight that this name has.
Yeah.
So you can imagine how Tommy feels coming up through the amateur ranks, and everyone's looking at him with magnifying glass, under the magnifying glass all the time.
It's like, to make another link to football, it's exactly the same. Like, there's been brothers in football, like one of them's gone on to do really well, and then another one starts rising through the youth ranks, and everyone just pounds that pressure. Like at the minute, Cristiano Ronaldo's son's in an academy somewhere, and everyone's just watching him with a magnifying glass.
Yeah.
Like, he needs to be as good, if not better, than his dad, and that's so much pressure to put on someone.
I don't think it's fair.
No.
But also, pressure makes diamonds.
100%.
I wouldn't be surprised if Tommy comes out of this a really good quiet boxer.
Realistically, all the pressure was on him.
Yeah, he had the whole weight of his shoulders.
A lot of people think, because he was like a 7-0 boxer, or 8-0.
He's 8-0, yeah.
Yeah. Like, they just expected him to beat Jake Paul because he's not a boxer.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't turn out like that because he had all the pressure on him. Like, he had obviously the Fury name. He had obviously he just had birth of his baby.
Yeah, Bambi's baby.
And that's a lot of pressure. Obviously he would have been in camp while that child was born.
Yeah.
He probably went home for a day.
Yeah, a day, maybe see his kid.
Yeah.
And he's obviously been training, thinking, I've got a baby at home, why am I doing this? I can just go home to my...
He hadn't had a fight in, obviously, like, he took a massive break because of Love Island and everything like that. Like, he hasn't been boxing consistently over the past
I think his
few
last
years.
fight actually was on the undercard of his brother, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
That was at Wembley.
Yeah.
And he opened the card, didn't he?
Yeah,
he opened the whole card.
Yeah. But yeah, all the pressure was on him. He had everything to prove in that fight.
Definitely. And I'm happy it went the way it did. Jake Paul, I expected more from him, I'm not going to lie.
See, I don't know, like, it's hard to say because, like...
You've got two different styles of fighting, obviously.
Yeah.
These are two different styles of fighting. Jake will look good on pads. Anyone can look good on pads.
Yeah.
And anyone can look good fighting a style that matches their fighting. Yeah, you can. That looks good. You know, when you watch a boxing fight and the styles match and it's a good match. I feel with Tommy and Jake, the style difference made it a bit of a messy fight.
Yeah, oh mate, it was terrible.
It was a messy fight. It wasn't great boxing.
No.
And I think it was down to their styles. Jake.
I think the thing is like Jake. I've always had, like, we've had debates about this in the past quite a lot, and I've always said that until Jake fights an actual boxer, you won't see how good he is, because it's alright fighting. Obviously, he fought. Who did he fight first? Deji, who didn't train.
Literally didn't even train.
You just eating takeaway. I mean, he said that himself. He's just eating takeaway and just fucking around, basically. And then he fought.
I love Deji. I'm just gonna put it out there. I love Deji.
Oh, Deji's great.
I love Deji.
He's so funny. And then who did he fight next? Was it Anis Gibb? I think he fought.
No, Anderson Gibb. It wasn't Anderson Gibb next. Oh no, it was Anderson Gibb next, and it was Tyron Woodley.
No, it's Ben Askren. Then Tyron Woodley, and then Tyron Woodley again, and then Tommy Fury.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was that. Yeah.
So he's fought two YouTubers.
Anderson Silva as well.
Oh yeah, Anderson Silva. He's fought two YouTubers. But you can't count the Deji one. Doesn't count as professional record.
Because that was white collar.
That was an amateur. Yeah.
That was white collar.
So his professional record is a win against Anis Gibb, because that counted as a professional.
Mm-hmm.
Anis Gibb was shit.
Do
you remember he kept crouching?
I know, he was doing this, wasn't he?
Yeah,
like, he kept going like this.
I saw all the memes on Twitter, like the crab, like because he's doing like a crab walk. Like.
He's got Anderson Gibbs a fucking specimen, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Mate, he's a tank. But so he beat him, beat Ben Askren, who was a grappler.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know a lot about UFC, but I know he's a grappler.
He's not a striker.
But you fight Tyron Woodley and Anderson Silva. Obviously, everyone's saying, "Oh, they're both brilliant strikers in the UFC." It's the UFC.
It's the UFC.
You can't elbow someone in boxing. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be doing that.
You'll find in UFC the most fatal things are the elbows and all that sort of stuff. It's not the jab in the UFC fight.
No.
In the UFC fight that
it's
wins
such
you
a
the
different
fight.
style.
It really is.
Like,
yeah.
obviously people were saying like, oh, you know, he's fighting a real opponent now in Anderson Silva, a 47-year-old retired UFC fighter.
Yeah.
You know,
An old man.
That's not a real fight.
He is a beast. Anderson Silva's a beast.
In MMA.
In MMA, I think what everyone thought though is because
he's a good striker.
He's a good striker, and he did beat a world champion in boxing.
Right.
Yeah, he did. He beat a world champion in boxing. I can't remember who it was. Tell me in the comments actually who it was, because Anderson Silva won a boxing match against like a world champion. I can't remember who it was. I can't even remember what weight division it was, but he definitely did that, and that's, I feel, what drove the hype behind that fight. Like, don't forget, Jake is very strategic with the fights that he picks.
Yeah.
As you would, by the way, wouldn't you?
Yeah, obviously. I mean, if you're in that position, but also, he fought Tyron Woodley twice as well. And then coming to Tommy, like it's just a completely different ball game, isn't it?
Yeah, for
like,
sure.
100%. Like, you can't have a few months of training, and like we got to remember, Jake Paul's been training for years. Now, by this point, he's been training,
3-4 years,
doing sparring and doing boxing camps and fighting in front of massive crowds for years. Tommy has only been doing half of that. He's been doing the boxing, he's been doing amateurs, and he's been doing that. He hasn't really fought in front of a massive crowd as the main event.
Yeah, that's true.
That's another thing. Like,
this was his first main event
in a different country.
I tell you what, he did make me laugh though. Let's talk about the fight itself, right? So, round 1, Tommy.
Easy.
Round 2,
Tommy.
Round 3, Jake.
Yeah.
And then again, the rest of the rounds, Tommy.
No, Jake won the last round because of the knockdown.
Oh yeah, the knockdown that Tommy said he slipped. He slipped because he got punched in the face.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't like he didn't get sparked out. Like, you know, he literally
got hit and he stumbled like that.
He got a jab in the face, and obviously he wasn't quite on balance, so he slipped over. Like, it's technically a knockdown because he got hit, then he fell.
Yeah.
But you know, he didn't get sparked. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like a clean connect. It wasn't a massively clean connection. So obviously, yeah, I'd give Jake 2 at a push 3 rounds.
Yeah, there was a couple of rounds
where it was close.
Yeah.
Like, it was close. It was toing and throwing quite nicely. But one thing that did annoy me a lot is Jake loves a hug, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh my god. Do you know what? I was actually getting anxiety with the amount of clinches. I was getting anxiety with the amount of clinches that boy was doing. I know it's a boxing technique, but come on, man.
It was just boring.
Yeah, and you can literally see the frustration in the referee's face, constantly having to just keep...
ref.
Oh yeah, let's actually talk about the ref for a second. When was the last boxing match you saw 2 points deducted?
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen, does it?
He just evened it up.
I feel like he went back on his first decision of the -1 on Jake's side, and he took it away.
That shouldn't have been. I don't think Jake should have. I didn't. I was watching it, but I didn't see him punch Tommy in the back of the head.
Oh, basically, it was quite quick. It was.
Was it like when they were hugging?
They were hugging, and he sort of turned his head, and they were going like this, and he was going like this.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
whilst they were clinching.
I did see that actually. Yeah.
He was clinching. He was going like this, and Tommy
moved
moved his head and whacked him in. Or Jake moved his head and whacked him in the back of the head.
Yeah, I did see that. And then obviously Jake got a point deducted. Tommy got a point deducted for holding him like that.
Yeah, holding him like that, putting his weight on him like that. Which, by the way, I think what did they weigh in at? Well, I can't remember what they weighed in at.
I'm pretty sure Jake was heavier than Tommy, but
was he heavier?
I'm pretty sure Tommy had the reach advantage though.
Yeah, I know Tommy had the reach advantage. That's a vicious jab from Tommy, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, Tommy's built like a brick shithouse, isn't he?
Yeah.
Like, he's built. Like, obviously, boxing isn't about aesthetics. Tyson Fury's a prime example.
His brother literally is a prime example of that, yeah.
But you see...
There's 2 different ends of the pitch, isn't it? Like, you've got Tommy, which is probably the most ripped in the division.
Yeah.
And then you've got Tyson, which is the complete opposite, but debatably the best boxer in the world.
He's
it's
just
like
fat. Like... he is, isn't he? He's just fat,
he is.
I mean, I can't really say much because I've got a bit of timber here as well. But
I don't think that's bad though, is it? Because I think
you need weight in boxing as well. Because one of Tyson's main techniques is just leaning on people. Obviously, you can't do that. You can't. Well, to audio listeners, you can't put your arm around the back of someone's neck and like lean on their back, but you can. You know, lean into their shoulders, and you can
sort of put your weight on them, sort of like rest on them.
But you can't like, get them in a headlock.
Yeah,
that's what Tommy was doing. I think that's what got him the point because the ref went like that. Where the ref did sort of arm movement like that.
Yeah, he went like that and that. Yeah, basically. So, interesting fight. Tommy, don't forget though. Obviously, weight moves weight.
Yeah.
But the muscles require such an amount of oxygen where in a fight, you know, in a 8-round, 12-round fight, maybe you don't want all that muscle.
That's why you see a lot of. I mean, to go back to another influencer event. I've been going on to this guy about Salt Pappy for years.
Oh my god!
And when I first said about it, I didn't hear the end of it from you. You were just taking a piss, saying, "Oh, who is this guy? Like, what's he doing?"
He runs on the spot and makes stupid faces. Like, what is this? Like, no. I'm sorry, but no, he can be a good boxer, but
no, okay, so apart from his personality, like, in the last Misfits event, he fought Josh Bruckner, who was a brick shithouse. He was built, like, and he got battered.
After that fight...
You respected him more, didn't
I'm
you?
a Salt Pappy fan.
Yeah.
I'm a Salt Pappy fan. I genuinely believe that Salt Pappy is some sort of final boss for the others.
I think he could beat KSI.
Yeah.
100%, because KSI ain't that good. I mean, I saw on Twitter... KSI after the Jake Paul fight, he was like, "Oh, I beat both Tommy and Jake."
Yeah, I did see that. He tweeted, didn't he?
Doesn't.
Yeah, no, he doesn't beat Tommy for sure.
I mean, even Jake for me, like, I think it would be close.
I think that's probably that's the money fight now.
It's still a massive fight, even though Jake's lost. It's still a huge fight.
I think it's going to be close because we still haven't seen what KSI's like when he gets dragged through the trenches. We haven't seen him.
Him and Logan had 2 good scraps.
They did, but that's also like 2 years ago now.
True.
He's got
better since then.
He's got better since then. We don't like we know KSI's got heart.
Yeah.
The way he recovered from that massive back of their head punch from Logan, and he just sort of got up and stumbled, and his recovery rate.
Yeah, he didn't take...
Was insane.
I think he had like a full 2 minutes, but he took like 10 seconds and was just like...
Yeah, he was I'm fine. And his recovery rate from that...
Because he said he didn't want Logan to recover either.
Yeah.
That's what he said about that.
Yeah, that's, you got to dig deep for that sort of stuff. I think he's got it in him.
He's got heart, but I just think I think the difference is between KSI and Jake is KSI's got... You know, Prime, he's got side men, he's doing YouTube on his own channel, whereas Jake is literally just doing boxing.
Yeah, and I think that's what it comes down to. I think that's what led it. It's not necessarily who's the better boxer, it's who's putting more time into it.
Yeah.
Because you can be a good boxer but not pay it much attention. The other person, you know, hard work beats talent all day, every day.
When talent doesn't put in the hard work, yeah.
Especially when talent don't put in hard work, you know, exactly. So
I mean, I'm not saying, like, obviously JJ is putting in a lot of work, but Jake Paul that's his life.
How much work can he be putting in as well as going on tour with Prime, as well as doing this?
Music.
There is only 24 hours a day.
Shooting sidemen videos, you know, I mean, boxers, that's their whole life. Like, a lot of their time is spent in the sauna, in the ice bath, you know, getting 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night at least, because recovering. Like,
and you know KSI's not getting 10 hours of sleep every night if he's doing...
I reckon he gets about 5.
Yeah.
Because he's constantly doing shit.
And although, but I mean, he gets up, he gets in the taxi, and then he's got a meeting, and then they're pushing him this way, then they're pushing him that way.
Shoot,
now he's going to this, now he's going to that.
Yeah.
It might not be a lot of effort, but the fact that he's covering the hours when the hours should be in boxing. Yeah. If he wants to do what he wants to do.
I think Jake will edge it because of that.
And this loss could be dangerous for KSI for Jake. Because this could make Jake into a different beast. Yeah. Again, think about it. Yeah. How many boxers, how many trilogies have you seen where there's been a massive boxing upset? Yeah. Because of
Joshua.
Andy Ruiz. Yeah. Yes, I forgot about that. Oh my god.
That was mad, wasn't it? I mean, I'm pretty sure Ruiz was like a last minute substitute as well.
He was. His opponent pulled out.
Yeah.
AJ's opponent pulled out.
Yeah, I can't remember who he was meant to be fighting, but obviously Ruiz stepped in and he beat him, knocked him out.
Was it Chisora?
It was someone like, it was either Chisora or it was Dillian. It might have been White.
Oh, it might have been. Oh, it might Dillian
White. Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of them two. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. It was Chisora with him.
But yeah, last minute stepped in, knocked him out, and then AJ.
I remember watching that fight, being no way. Yeah. Like, I was actually like, I can't believe what I just watched. But it's because, like, I don't know.
I mean, I was always telling you I didn't think Joshua was that good. And you were always obviously a massive Joshua fanboy, weren't you?
Oh, at the time I was a massive Joshua fanboy. Because I feel like he's a science prodigy of boxing. Yeah. He's the one that's on the treadmill, right? And he's got the oxygen mask on and he's being artificially trained with machine science technology. Someone like, I see Tyson Fury. He's the Rocky Balboa of the world. Yeah, he's the one that will go climb a mountain to get his cardio in.
I mean, he just, like, he lives in Morecambe and he just goes on a run on the beach. Yeah. That's his morning cardio.
With his dad.
With his dad, yeah.
Like how raw and wholesome is that?
I mean, like people, I've seen videos on Facebook of like, you know, he'll just be running along the beach and like, you know, people like obviously people see him and come up to him and say hello. You know, he's the obviously the people's champion, isn't he?
He is the people's champion, yeah.
Like you can't say fairer than that. But we're gonna move into some Twitter
Yes. Okay.
replies now. I've got the tweet loaded up on my phone, so I'm just gonna go on here. And the tweet was from BT Sport, and this was basically the announcement that Tommy had won. So it's straight after the fight, they announced Tommy has beat Jake Paul. I'm just going to read some of the replies. So I'm just going to read a couple of replies, and we'll just talk about them. The first one, Jake Paul got humbled. He did.
He did.
He was chatting so much waffle. Oh, Tommy Fury only knocks out taxi drivers.
Let Molly May make all the money and you go in.
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. I feel he got humbled for sure.
Yeah. He was like, I mean, he was even saying he could beat fucking Canelo. Do you remember?
I'm gonna be a world champion.
No,
Canelo,
you're
I'm coming for you. You're on my hit list.
You're not.
Did you see his hit list?
No.
Did you see Jake Paul's hit list?
No,
you should see some of the names on this hit list. Oh my god! I don't know if you can try and get it up, but yeah, Jake
Isn't
Paul's
like
hit
Nate
list.
Diaz on there?
Nate Diaz, Dylan Dennis.
I mean, he could beat Dylan Dennis.
He'll beat Dylan Dennis, but don't forget this is a hit list he made after his first fight with Deji.
Yeah.
And even then, you got Canelo Alvarez on there.
That's so mad.
You after beating
Deji.
yeah, after beating Deji, he just gets this whole like ego boost. Yeah, I'm gonna go for world champion. I'm gonna beat Canelo Alvarez. Debatably, again, the best boxer on the planet. Debatably.
Literally. So another one is celebrated like he won something worthwhile. He beat a Disney YouTuber. How embarrassing for Tommy. I don't agree.
I don't agree with that.
Too much, so much. Like we said earlier, so much pressure on Tommy for him to get paid nearly £4 million, biggest payday he'll have, possibly
potentially ever. Yeah.
Like, and for him to have all that pressure on him, I completely understand why he basically broke down in tears after the fight.
He did, yeah, and you could see the raw emotion in his face, like how much it meant to him, how much, you know, when he was talking in front of everybody, he was like, I had the weight of the world on his shoulders, because he did. Everyone was going, oh, Tommy fumbles the bag, and Tommy fumbles and all this sort of stuff, pulled out. What actually...
The only reason he pulled out is because he couldn't get in the fucking country.
Yeah. Okay, what actually happens, guys, if he genuinely couldn't get into the country?
Yeah.
What if that was the actual thing, which I
believe
it is. He stepped up this time.
Yeah.
I don't think it was ever a problem of him stepping up to the plate.
No.
I think it genuinely was logistic issues. I mean, what was the other one? He broke a rib.
Yeah.
You can't fight when you've got a broken rib. You can't fight. Why?
No.
If you had a massive fight coming up, you wouldn't risk losing that fight because you decided to fight with a broken rib, would you?
No.
You just wouldn't do that, especially at these levels, which I think a lot of these keyboard warriors online, they're very, very opinionated about certain things, but they don't actually think about the logistics of the fighter.
Yeah.
Like, realistically, would you go into a fight and a payday that is £4 million worth? You're going to risk that, losing that, being an internet humility.
In front of that crowd.
In front of that crowd, especially that crowd that Jake brings, that meme crowd, that young audience. You really want to try and fumble that fight just because you got a broken rib. I'm sorry, but I'm postponing the fight.
It's not even that. Like Tommy, well, it's obviously, but Tommy literally had the whole of the UK behind him. Yep. He had a lot of the US behind him, because even a lot of the US people
booze Jake received.
Oh mate, crazy. Yeah, people like they were chanting Tommy, like it was mad.
Yeah, it gave me goosebumps when I heard it.
Yeah,
for them to be in Saudi and for Tommy's crowd, Tommy's support to over chant the Jake crowd.
Jake was getting booed. Didn't get any shares, bro.
Yeah, I know. What I heard. Yeah, I mean, well, he got a few. I think Jake's was a bit more 50-50. Tommy was very one-sided.
Oh, there's another thing as well. What did you think? What did you think about when the presenter mid-fight passed the mic to Logan Paul and he was like, "Tommy, you a bitch," all this and that. I thought that was disrespectful.
It was disrespectful.
You can't have that in boxing.
No, especially when we're talking,
mid-round.
There was.
Well, it wasn't mid-round. Post going into a next round.
Yeah, it was in between rounds, wasn't it? When he Radio Raheem, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's Radio Raheem and so my opinion on that is unacceptable.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have done it.
No.
There was literally a WBC world title fight before that fight.
Yeah.
It's BT, it's mainstream, this isn't YouTube.
It's a proper boxing event.
Swearing.
It's not WWE.
Exactly, it's not WWE. You can't just swear on BT live streams. You can't just do that. And I think Logan should know better.
Yeah.
He's gone through the media training. He's had the whole world.
He's at WWE.
He's at WWE.
He's literally there now. I mean, he's a brilliant wrestler. But
Honestly, I'll give it to him.
Yeah, he's a brilliant wrestler, but you can't be doing that in the middle of a fight. Like before and after, fine, do what you want. But
do you know what I said to Jake? I was like, Jake's my brother, by the way.
Yeah, not Jake Paul. He wasn't just on the phone to. You're right, Jake, mate. Yeah, I just think of the fight, bro.
Casually, I got him on speed dial.
Yeah,
man.
literally.
No, I said to Jake, my brother, I was like, when he did that, I went, he's just cancelled himself again.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be a moment for him.
But I think the thing that overrided that in the same segment was how hilarious it was that the presenter said, "I love you too."
Yeah, I saw that.
He was like, "Oh, I said to Jake, I love you, man. You're gonna go out there and kill it." And he's like, "Yeah, I love you too." And well, he's not talking to you, is he? He doesn't even know who you are, bro.
He literally said it
I love you. Yeah, he's like, "I love you too, man."
He's like, what did you say to your brother before he walked out for the fight?
He's like, "I didn't really say much.
I love you, man. I love you too."
Yeah.
And then
it's so funny.
I love Radio Raheem, man. He's so joked.
Yeah, but to wrap up this boxing segment, because it has gone for a bit of time now.
Oh, it has. Yeah.
So I'm going to just say one more tweet that I wanted to talk about, and then we'll move on to the next segment, guys. So this one is, I'm shocked the judges didn't score that as a draw, but it's the correct decision. Obviously, Tommy winning, and I want to lead on this because when the fight ended, I said to my dad, me and my dad were watching it, they're going to score that as a draw.
Me and Jake did as well.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have been surprised if it was a draw.
Because it's not even just the influence of boxing, but I've seen dozens of real fights get scored so horrendously bad.
So wrong.
I think boxing is the worst sport for that.
I think it's because it's got the most debatable point scoring system.
Yeah, do you want the ring, do you want centre ring, do you want
Are you chasing it down, are you closing it down? There's so many things that will give you the edge. If you're not fighting a good fight, there's so many things you can do to win on the cards.
But I don't think it's even that though, because I've seen fights where there's such a clear winner and they score it the other way. You know what I mean? Even they've had centre ring, they've had the most punches landed, they've had this, they've had that. Judges completely just scored it the complete other way. I don't understand how that happens. It's such a screwy sport, boxing. I feel like there's a massive history of just. I don't know whether people have been paying the judges or this or that. I feel it's such a murky area for boxing.
People say it for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. When Tyson went to the United States to fight Wilder, me and my dad were talking. I said, if he doesn't knock him out, he'll lose. Because whenever a British fighter goes to America, they always get fucked.
Yeah.
Always happens. So if you're a British fighter and you're going to America, you better make sure you're going to knock the guy out.
For sure. I don't know why that is though. There's got to be something
weird
behind that.
And another thing as well, there was an American. How can there be an American judge there? One of the three judges was American. How can that be a thing? Surely they all should be neutral, because there wasn't an English judge there.
There weren't English judges. It was Saudi, America, and
it's like an Eastern European country.
An Eastern European, was it? Yeah.
It was either Middle East or Eastern European.
It should have just been
three neutral.
Because the American judge gave Jake
how the fuck did he give Jake the fight?
It was 76, 75.
Yeah, 1 point in it. Because that was the first one that got read out as well, wasn't it? It was 76, 75.
Yeah, because me and Jay looked at each other. Here we go.
Yeah, I was like, I said to my dad, as soon as that first judge said his score to Jake Paul, I was like,
here we go.
They're screwing Tommy here, and I would have been so annoyed.
I actually would have. I would have.
Because Tommy deserved that all day.
He did. He definitely looked like the better boxer.
Yeah.
He is the boxer out of them two.
Right, guys, that about wraps up our boxing segment. I feel like that went on quite a while. I think that's a pretty good discussion.
I think it needed to go on for a while. There was heavy boxing weekend. It's definitely a heavy boxing weekend.
This is our first podcast as well, so we're gonna go back to things that we've seen before, and obviously they haven't been discussed on previous episodes because there aren't any previous episodes. You know what I mean? So each of these segments are going to be quite long. Right, guys, so we're going to have a couple of minutes break now. In the second half of the podcast, we're going to talk about a conspiracy theory, and we're going to try and either agree with it or disagree with it, and we're going to rate it on a scale, and we're going to talk about another few things just to finish off the podcast. Right, guys, so for the video watchers, you'll probably see that we have changed something. The lighting was going, the natural daylight was going down, so we've turned on some, what's it called, like unnatural light. Is that what it is?
Artificial light.
Artificial light. Yeah, unnatural light.
Joker.
So we've turned on some. I'm gonna say it again, unnatural light, and we're gonna go again from here. But if you guys are just listening to us on Spotify or Apple Music, make sure to check out our YouTube channel as well. It's at The Reasonable Podcast, and you'll be able to see our ugly mugs. If you don't want to see our ugly mugs, going to go for a walk, stick your earphones in, get it on Spotify, Apple Music, whatever your platform of choice is, you can do that as well. So we're available on all platforms.
All platforms, audio or video, your choice, guys.
And you will see the evolution of the podcast, hopefully. You know, the audio is going to get better. You know, when we get some more money behind us, we're going to get proper mics, and we're going to get a proper camera. We'll get a tripod.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're going to try and make this as professional as we possibly can. But we were thinking, we were debating between ourselves whether we wanted this to start out properly, and you know, we just buy all the stuff and then do our first episode, or we do our first episode with the facilities we've got, which is, let's be real, not a lot at the minute.
Not a great deal.
We've had to sort of scrounge around for stuff. Not scrounge around, but we've had to sort of be creative with our ideas.
We've been creative.
You know, so we're using, you know, we're basically using a laptop for our audio. We're using a phone for our camera.
Yeah.
You know, being 100% honest
and
with you guys.
And this is raw, isn't it?
This is raw. So you're going to see, if you go back, say you're watching this in 2026, you go back 3 years. This is us now.
It's going to be so different. Hopefully it's going to be different. Hopefully we can make this. This is going to be a weekly thing, by the way.
Yeah, this is going to be a weekly episode. Like, we're hoping we're going to try our best to make this a weekly thing. Obviously, there are going to be weeks where we can't do it because real life stuff obviously does get in the way.
Yeah.
You know, I've got my own commitments. I've got a girlfriend. I've got this and that I've got to do. So things might get in the way, but we're just going to try and do as much as we can, really.
Yeah, we're going to do our best. You're going to see our evolution, and I mean, I wanted to push the video heavily, didn't I? Because
you wanted the video.
You were quite happy with just the audio.
I was saying as a start, we do audio only first because it's a lot easier to edit. It's a lot easier just to cut out the audio. But when we're doing video as well, if one of us stumble over our words, which we have done already, at the start especially, if one of us stumble over our words, it's very hard because there'll be quite a jarring split in the middle of the cut.
Yeah, it could be an awkward cuts and things like that. So, but we're going to get better at that at the end of the day. We are going to get better at it.
Of course.
And yeah, you know, I wanted to push the video because so you guys can actually see the evolution. I feel like this is the best part of the podcast.
It is
this is important.
When you explained it to me like that, it is important to see, like like this title, Humble Beginnings.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're doing. You know, we're humble. We haven't got a lot. You know, we're just doing what we can. And I feel like that's a really good format to start with.
Because at the end of the day, you know, if you feel like you want to make the content, just make the content.
Yeah.
I'm a big.
You just got to do it.
We just got to do it. So that's what we've literally decided to do. We just thought, let's put some mics on, let's put some cameras on, let's make a podcast. Because why not?
A lot of people will just wait for that perfect time to do it.
Yeah.
But there isn't a perfect time. You just have to do it. It's like, to relate it to something completely unrelated. I don't know how I've made this link, but it's the thing. I mean, I go to the gym, and a lot of people, like, I'll speak to people, oh, why don't you come gym, this and that, and they're like, oh, I'm just waiting for the time, you know, I'm just waiting, weeks, months go by. What I did is I literally just went on I woke up one morning, went on my phone, signed up and went, and I was just like, that's it, I've just gone ever since. Because sometimes you do just have to jump in the deep end.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's what we've done.
Definitely.
So, yeah, I don't know, that's a bit of a weird one to say halfway through an episode, but that was basically...
I feel like it was needed though, because obviously you know when you're watching this, it's going to be like it might look okay, but just to explain a little bit about how this come about and how we're actually managing to do this.
No, we probably should have put this at the start, but
yeah, we probably should have. But listen,
if you guys are seeing this at the start of the episode, we've worked out editing magic,
and we're geniuses.
Yeah, but we're probably not.
No, it's probably going to stay right here.
It's for we don't know how long this episode's going to go on for, but it's probably about halfway in.
Yeah.
So we thought of another segment, and I'm a massive football fan. Charlie not so much. He has got a favourite team. Well, two technically.
Got two teams technically, yeah.
And they are
Norwich FC and Arsenal.
Yeah. Okay. And he's not a massive football fan. Like, he doesn't go to a lot of games, but you know, I feel like us being friends, you've learned a lot more about football. For sure.
For sure.
Because I'm a bit about me. I'm a massive Peterborough United fan. I've had a season ticket for over 10 years. I go to pretty much every home game, and I go to a lot of away games where I can. Fucking takes up like all my money.
Yeah.
Like the away games, especially when I'm driving hundreds of miles, spending money on food, tickets. It's a crazy expensive hobby, but you know I do it because I love my team. You know, we're in League One. The season's not going so well at the minute. We've had a bit of a farcical couple of years, if I do say so myself. Like, to explain it to you, you know Darren Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
So we recently, a couple of months ago, we reappointed him for the 4th time.
Yeah, you told me about this.
And I just think that's crazy. Like 4 times for one manager.
4-time manager.
That's like you going to Tesco, getting a job, quitting, going back, getting the same job, and then doing that 3 times over.
And it's such like an important job, like
yeah,
a football manager. Like,
yeah.
To do that 4 times that's crazy.
And like a lot of the criticism that has been levelled at our owner is he's just run out of ideas because he's just going with the same person over and over again. And you can't really say he's not, because he kind of is. But I mean, we had another manager called Grant McCann who used to be a player for us, and we've had him twice as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like our last 5 managers have all been the same people, like Ferguson, McCann, Ferguson.
I don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing though.
I don't know. I think
because he did well for Posh, didn't he?
he did do well, and that's a lot of things. That's a lot of what our fans who have been pro the management sign have been saying. He's at League One level, especially. He's proven that he can do it because he's promoted us 3 times from that same league.
Yeah.
So he's got the credentials at that level, but it's always that next step.
Mm-hmm.
And from my point of view, I want someone that can come in and not only get us where we need to be, like at the top of the table in League One,
Mm-hmm.
but I want someone that can build us a project, a long-term thing that can also sustain us at the Championship as well. Because whenever we've gone up to the Championship, we've always come straight back down.
Yeah.
There was one season where we stayed up, and then we went back down the following season. But Ferguson has proved time and time again that he's limited. Like he's very, very good in League One, and I think for any other team, I would say if there was any other manager vacancies available in League One, 100% get Fergie. But because we've had him 3 times before, I feel like we just need fresh ideas.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Like it's frustrating because I want to support my club, but it's getting hard for me. Like recently, I mean, I haven't even told you this, but I actually sold my season ticket.
No.
I did.
Did you?
I did.
Wow, that's huge. Why?
Because I was fully behind the project of Grant McCann. I wanted him to stay for a long time because to put into perspective, he got hired in January of 2022.
Right.
Only lasted a year. And bearing in mind, he had 3 months of football and then 4 or 5 months post-season when nothing was happening, and a few months of football again. So realistically, he was only there for 6 or 7 months actually, managing the team, playing games.
Yeah.
And I got behind that project a lot. And then when he got sacked, I didn't mind him getting sacked, but then they brought Fergie in immediately. It was in the same tweet. It was
so as if they had him.
He was there. He was on the back burner or whatever. He was always just there. So in the same tweet it said Grant McCann has been relieved, and Grant McCann and Cliff Byrne, who's his assistant manager, have been relieved of their duties. The club has appointed Darren Ferguson until the end of the season. So there wasn't even any gap. It was just boom, boom.
Yeah.
So then I was I had a discussion with my mate, and I was like, I don't want, until I feel like it's not even a problem it's not even the manager, it's the owner for me. I feel like I want a different approach, and I just don't want to support an owner who's just going to do the same thing over and over and over again. So I sold my season ticket, and now I bought one for the remainder of the season at my local non-league club, Peterborough Sports. So they are 2 leagues below League 2, so 3 leagues below where Posh are now. And for me, it's cheaper. You can, there's a certain rule at football stadiums, you can't, if you buy a beer, you can't drink at your seat. In non-league, you can buy a beer in the bar and just go and stand on the side, sipping your beer. It's nice. It's I feel like it's I feel like
better experience.
It's a different, like it's different. Like what you want as an experience. Do you want the sort of decent seat and like decent food? Do you want like higher level football? But for me, I want a project that I can believe in, and I want the club that I'm paying money to know that it's actually worth it. You know what I mean? Like, I know that they appreciate me being a season ticket holder. I mean, they know me by name already. Like, the actual owners know me by name already. So like, it's one of them, because we've only got like, I mean, the crowds are like 200 people compared to Posh, where it's like 6,000-7,000.
Yeah.
So I know that everything, like every pint I buy, or every burger that I eat, or every ticket that I buy, if I bring a mate along, the ticket they buy, I know that it's so wanted, needed by them. You know. So I've changed.
Yeah, I get that, actually. I understand that.
I haven't changed. Like, I still support Posh, because I always will. Like, like I said, I had a season ticket for 10 years.
Maybe your approach to your support is different now.
Yeah. So I basically did a boycott. It basically is a boycott. I don't want to go back to Posh until McAnthony, who's the owner, is gone.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes, new owner comes in, I'll happily go back, because I have no problem with the team.
Yeah.
But that's just my point of view on it. Like,
That's fair enough.
Like, my dad was calling me crazy, because I've been going with him for so many years, and he was saying, like, I think you made a really rash decision, but maybe it was rash, but it probably was a bit knee-jerky, sort of just like straight away.
Yeah.
But I feel like I did it for the right reasons, and hopefully, I mean, it's not going to make a massive impact, just one person not being there, but I feel like it shows. A lot of people are all talk, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter like, I'm boycotting the games until, Dara goes, and next home game they're there.
They're there.
And it's just like, I want my actions to speak louder than my words. Like, I haven't really told many people that I'm doing it. I just want to do it because I just feel like it maybe makes some sort of impact. Probably not a lot. He probably doesn't give a shit that that I'm not going anymore. But like, I know that my club now, I guess I have two clubs, but my club now actually appreciates me going every game. So I like to feel that love and appreciation, even though the football is shit. Like, it's 3 leagues below it, is pretty shit, but yeah, it's wholesome.
Yeah.
Like, it's wholesome. Like, I've got a mate who goes, and he's been going for years, and they one of these best mates with a lot of the people there, and it's more like a community. Like,
I think that's an important message to take away from what you're saying, though, isn't it? It's like, if you're listening, viewing, watching, whatever you listen to us, viewing us on, it's an important message to take away from that, because
do what you think's right.
Do what you think's right, and don't just be the person that says it with no action, because nothing will ever happen.
Yeah.
If you want the owner of Posh, you don't want to show your support and support him in that way, with the season tickets and going to every game and showing that commitment and putting that investment and that time and the effort into doing that. If you don't want to do that and you say you're not going to do it until the owner's gone, then do that. Then actually do that. Don't just say it. Don't just tweet about it. Actually do it, because the owner will never leave if people don't do that.
No, he won't.
The owner will never leave if people don't do that, and that's an important message. If you're going to do it, do it. If you don't say you're going to do it.
And it can be applied to a lot of other things in life as well. Like, if you're, I can't even think of an example, but if you're shopping at a big retailer, just for a weird example, if you're shopping at a big retailer, every purchase you make is a drop in the ocean. But if you're shopping locally, your bakery and all that sort of stuff, that's important. Support your local community, support your local shops, and that's I think that's an important message to take away from what you just explained. Yeah,
and 100% for sure. Useful consumer advice here on the Reasonable Podcast.
Where else do you get this, guys?
Golden, absolutely golden.
Okay, so that's enough football talk. Okay, guys, so we're nearing the end of the podcast now, but we're going to do this is going to be a segment in every episode. We're going to troll through the online forums and just see what conspiracy we can find. We're not going to be biased, and we're just going to say what we think about it, and then at the end we're going to give it a rating on how scary it is and what the real world implication would be.
So the segment's called Deny It, and basically we chat about a conspiracy theory. I will say one, you will try to deny it.
Yeah.
And what are the real world implications, and is this believable? Is that conspiracy theory
you obviously
believable?
give your point of view as well, like if you think it's believable or whatever.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be talking. It's a pretty broad one, right, guys? So we're nearing the end of the podcast now, and we're going to do our second to last segment, which is going to be a conspiracy theory sort of thing, where we're going to go through online forums, and we're going to go on Reddit, we're going to go on Twitter or whatever, and just see what conspiracy theories we can find. I'm going to say it, or Charlie will say it, and we'll just basically talk about it, and if we believe it or not, we'll rank it on sort of how scary it is, because some of them are pretty scary, realistically, and how, if it was announced on the news tomorrow that it was real, would it actually matter?
And what are the real world implications?
Would it matter? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like to the average person like you or me, how much of an impact does it really have?
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of people with conspiracy theories, I've done it myself, you have as well, we've gone down a rabbit hole and we've been scared to leave our house.
Yes. It
happens.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, you think that you do some research on the Illuminati, think they're going to be knocking at your door. Like,
am I already part of them?
Yeah, you know what I mean?
All sort of stuff.
So we've got quite a few jotted down already. We're going to go through them in the following weeks, but this one is going to be about extraterrestrials and UFOs. I feel like they tie in quite nicely together. Aliens. It's a massive, massive topic. So let's just have a chat about it, mate.
Do they exist?
Do they exist?
Obviously they exist. We are aliens. We are extraterrestrial.
No, okay. Aliens is aliens to us.
Aliens to us. Yeah. Yeah.
So another species.
Okay. Are they out there?
Yes.
I believe so as well.
Realistically, out of the billions of planets that can support billions of planets that are just out in the universe, even if like 1% of, I don't know what the actual statistic is.
They call it David's equation.
Okay.
So David's equation is 1 in a Googleplex.
Okay.
Your search engine that everyone uses is Google.
Yeah.
The reason they call it Google is because that is the largest number of possibility of life existing in this universe. It's the largest number humans have ever counted to. The David's equation explains the probability of another intelligent species going through the evolutionary chain to become like us.
Intelligent beings.
An intelligent being who we've got infrastructure, we've got technology, and we're on that plane of evolution.
But I think like another thing to add to that as well, like the amount of planets that not only we've found but we haven't found that can support life.
Yeah.
So you've got to take that into the equation
the
as well.
The amount of planets that are in the habitable zone of their local star.
Yeah. That can support life. So realistically, aliens, they're real.
How can they not?
Yeah.
That's the more question. How can they not?
I believe you're very ignorant if you don't think that out there somewhere is another life form. If you really think that humans are the only life form in the whole universe, you're just a bit class.
I've met people like this.
No.
I've met people like this that are literally like, we are the only species the universe is trying to work on. And it's like, I can't believe, how can you have that mindset? Yeah. We are on a little planet called Earth, in a habitable zone.
Like,
it's not even a big planet,
Have you seen them videos where it's like it starts on ground level at Earth and it just keeps zooming out, and it's like it shows our galaxy, then it shows everything else, it shows like just everything that the universe is, and we're left and we're like not even like a grain of sand.
Literally, they say there's more stars in the universe than there is grain of sand on this planet.
That's so mad.
How insane is that?
That's so mad.
And I can't remember who said it. I think it came out of like Oxford University when they actually did because obviously we've got the known universe and we've got the unknown universe,
which is massive,
which is huge. Even in our known universe, there are more planets than there is grain of sand, and that's what we already know about. Yeah. Imagine what we don't know about. You could probably fill Saturn with all the grain of sand you ever can, and it still won't cover the amount of vastness this universe. And by the way, it's ever expanding.
Exactly, it's constantly getting bigger.
Now, I do have a bit of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
hit me.
I don't like Charles Darwin.
Okay.
Because he says that we came from monkeys or all that sort of stuff. Our evolution.
Theory of evolution.
Theory of evolution. I don't like that because technically it's a contradiction. He says that not one species can exist in the same timeline as their predecessors.
But we do.
So how can we go to the zoo and see monkeys then?
That is interesting.
His own theory, he says that himself, but yet his theory, he's basically he's denying himself that theory. It's a massive contradiction.
Yeah.
We didn't come from monkeys. We've got webbed hands and feet, which actually suggests we come from the water.
Yeah.
We're 70% water. I've got a crazy theory that our DNA was on a rock that had been bouncing on planets and come from galaxies far away. Our DNA strand had been created over hundreds of millions of years on this rock. That rock landed on Earth, destroyed and wiped out the dinosaurs, and then that's where our DNA came from. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments of your crazy theories of how you think we got here. Are we aliens? Did we once live on Mars?
Yeah.
You know, you got all the scriptures in Egypt where it talks about fallen angels and things like this in our religion and the hieroglyphics and things like that. And I just think it can't all be a fugazi. There has to be some truth in it. You know, how are we? Because surely we're only just dictating what we see at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no written language at the time, so they draw pictures of what they see.
Yeah.
You know, you're telling me the pyramids weren't created by aliens? Yes, it was.
Well, that definitely is a topic for another podcast.
It really is. That's massive. But going back on aliens,
yeah. So
I think they exist.
We think they exist. So we're going to rank it on. So we can obviously we're ranking it on.
Let's do believability first.
We're going to do believability. So I'm going to say 10. I believe 100%.
Yeah, 10, 100%. There is no doubt in my mind there is aliens out there.
100%.
Even if it's on a bacterial level, there is aliens out there.
Yeah. And then, how scared are you that aliens are out there?
-10, I'm excited for it.
Fuck yeah, okay.
I want to see aliens in my life.
I want to see aliens as well, but it's like, to go off on a bit of a tangent. It's like, what are they? Because they're obviously not skinny, green, tall men with big.
I'll put it this way:
bulging
if they're
eyes.
capable of coming to us, they understand physics and the quantum mechanic world a lot more in depth and conclusively have the technology to make that long distance. Because let's be honest,
I think if aliens came to Earth, I would shit myself.
Okay. Let me change my answer then.
Like, really,
if aliens,
UFO flies in your back garden, bruv, alien starts trying.
If that happened, I'll shit myself. Do you know why? Because they've just made a 1,000 light year distance, probably by folding the universe with quantum mechanics and just going through it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, but if they hold that sort of technology, what are we going to do if they decide they didn't like us?
Yeah.
Realistically, they're going to have technology that can adjust gravity itself, can manipulate quantum mechanics to work in their favour.
Alright, okay, let's do two scales then. So, one if they landed on Earth, and one if they're just out there.
If they're just out there. Yeah.
So if you're saying -10 if they're just out there.
-10 if they're just out there, because that excites me, because I want there to be, which I know there is.
I'd agree. But if they come to Earth, how quickly are you shitting your pants?
Fucking
10.
10.
Mate.
10, because at the end of the day, they come to us.
Yeah.
That's not like us stumbling across a species. That's them targeting us, targeting our planet, and coming to see us.
Literally.
Why did they do that?
Yeah. And what are their intentions?
Because they came here.
Yeah.
Why us? Out of the billions of places. But yeah, so if they come here,
10.
I'd shit myself.
Okay.
Sure.
So the last scale we're going to rate this on is real world implications. So we'll do it in two parts again, because this is kind of a two-parter. So if aliens are just out there and we find them and it gets announced on the news, they're however far away, they're not touching Earth, what are the real world implications? Do you think people will go mad, or just think people will be like, nah, kind of expected it?
I think if it was a news broadcast and it was an official thing whereby it was, you know, our leaders of the world coming together saying, we have officially found intelligent life,
Yep.
but it's nowhere near us. You don't have to worry about it. I don't think there would be a worldwide panic.
No.
I think it would be more of, I told you so.
Yeah, exactly that.
I think
But
that's what
then
it would be.
it would, I feel like there would be some cause of panic as well, because
Well, conspiracy theory world would go nuts.
like people would be like, okay, so what else have they not told us, or what else are they not telling us? Are the aliens actually coming?
Have we already found them?
Are they already here? So so 1 if you don't think the general person is going to care. 10 if you think there's going to be fucking rapture.
Uproar and all that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 7.
7.
Yeah, because I think the human brain asks itself too many questions. I don't think you can rely on the average person to be chill in a moment of a discovery like that.
I'm going to say 9.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
If, for me personally, if there was, because I like to read into things too much, and I like to go deeper than what the news and the government are telling us. I like to go deeper than that. I would probably shit myself a little bit. And
I think it all depends on how they found them.
Yeah.
I think the whole story behind it would matter.
I think my brain would go a bit into overdrive.
Oh yeah, me too. But if we're talking about the average public,
maybe not so much.
Not so much.
I'm probably being biased to my personal point of view.
Yeah, that's why I said 7. I wasn't quite up there, but
I'll probably go about 5 then.
Yeah.
Because for me personally, it'd be a massive deal. But I think to the general population, I think
that's what I mean. Do you really think the person going to a 9 to 5 work job that's got his bills to pay? Do you think he's really going to care?
They won't care.
Yeah.
Probably even a 4 then. I don't like a lot of.
I'm sticking with 7. Do you know why? Because I think time. I think for starters it would be like, oh, I told you so. They're out there. We found some bacteria.
Yeah.
Give it time.
Yeah, it's a slow burner.
It's a slow burner, and then I think humans would be like,
fuck.
Damn.
Yeah.
So I'm sticking with 7. I think. Yeah. Okay. I think.
I'll bump mine up. But if it's thinking about that, I think I'll probably say like 6 then.
Yeah, I think it's a slow burner. I think for starters, people will still go to work and all that sort of stuff. But give it time. Damn, aliens exist.
Yeah.
What are we doing? And then it's like, wow. Okay, what are we actually doing?
Yeah.
And then there'd be a whole thing.
Okay, so real world implications if they landed in somewhere in America tomorrow.
10.
10. Gotta be 10.
It has to be.
Yeah.
If an alien UFO
just
landed on this planet, damn.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, the whole world would change. In like that.
Well, for starters, we've got technology on this planet now that is completely
different. Yeah.
Different.
It'll change every aspect of what we thought we knew about life and
science, physics,
science.
Everything.
Yeah, it would.
Imagine being able to control gravity.
Yeah, like it would give us so many opportunities and just it would change the world, 100%.
So real life implications off the radar.
Yeah,
on that one.
Like not even 10.
Off the scale.
Yeah, off the scale. Like it would just be mad.
There would never be. Think about it. There would never ever be any other moment in existence that can happen in this universe that is as big as 2 species meeting.
No.
There is in this universe. If you think, please put in the comments if you can think of anything that is more of a bigger deal
100%.
than 2 species meeting.
Yeah, like because you can theorize for days and days of what.
Because how big is the universe, right?
Yeah.
You think of how big the universe is. Species don't just get up and be intelligent, and like there's a whole billion-year process behind it, right? And they're millions of light years away. The fact that, and you're thinking of timeline as well. Time works differently in different universes, right? 24 hours on this planet is what we call a day.
It's not even the same in the neighbouring planet.
But on Mars, I think it's like a 32-hour day.
Yeah. And then like Venus and that is shorter, it's closer.
Yeah, because it's closer. And we might be wrong here, we're not great on that sort of stuff. I can't remember the order of the planets, but time dilation is real, and I believe obviously there is species out there. For it to even be physically possible in the quantum mechanic world with time dilation and the billion-year evolution that species need to get to that point, there's no bigger event that can happen than these 2 meeting.
I just think it would be chaos.
Would you think that's ever going to happen? I don't think it will.
No.
I think there's too much involved. There's too much time dilation. There's too much space.
There's too little a probability that I just don't think it will happen.
No, I mean, how long are we on this planet? What, 8 years? 80 years?
If you're lucky, yeah.
If you're lucky. Even if we do, it ain't going to be us.
No.
Even if humans do manage to find the technology to be able to just randomly time skip to where species are, to control gravity in the quantum mechanic world, we ain't gonna see that.
No.
Technology's way beyond. The technology needed for that sort of thing to happen is way beyond something.
But then
that can
you
happen
could
in 80
also
years.
you could also say in the same breath that some alien life form could already have that technology.
That's why it'd be scary if they came to us.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
That's why.
But I don't think it will happen.
No, I don't think it will happen. But if it did, there's nothing else bigger.
No.
If there is something bigger, if you're sitting there going, "These two idiots don't know what they're talking about," please let us know in the comments because
Yeah.
we love this talk.
Yeah, it is. We do. Yeah, we do have discussions about it, and that's what obviously another reason why we thought why don't we record it.
Yeah.
No, we just like why don't we record it?
Because it's so opinionated, isn't it? Like
Yeah.
everyone's got an opinion on this sort of stuff. I don't care who you are. You
Yeah.
have an opinion on this. You just do.
So yeah, that's basically our thoughts on aliens.
With that being said and
UFOs.
done, the Deny It segment,
It's
aliens,
They're real.
they're real.
Yeah.
And if they come to us,
It's
very
fucking
scary.
scary. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. So we'll finish on something light-hearted, shall we?
So, for the last segment of this podcast, each episode we're going to take it in turns. Literally, just tell a story
About anything.
about anything.
Yeah.
You've got this one.
Yeah.
Tell us a story.
Okay, so yeah, it's going to be light-hearted because directly preceding that, we're going to talk about heavier stuff like conspiracy theories and all that sort of shit. It's heavy. It's heavy on the mind, and we want you guys just to sort of just de-stress a bit because you might be overthinking right about now.
Yeah, yeah.
So de-stress a bit. I'm just going to say a story, and then next week Charlie will say a story, and then you guys know how it works. You're not fucking stupid.
Yep.
So I've got a story for this week, and it's going to be how I went to the pub with my mate and ended up in a casino in a different town, and on the way back our engine fell out.
What?
Yeah, that's the best way I can summarise it in a title.
That sounds like a horrible nightmare. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it fucking was. So I was just chilling. It was a Saturday night. I was playing FIFA or something, and my mate texted me, and he was like, "Oh, do you fancy going to the pub for a couple of drinks?" I was like, "Why not? It's 7 o'clock Saturday night. You know, I'll go and see what's happening." I wasn't planning on staying out long. Just go a couple of beers or one beer, drive home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a drink driver. Don't know why I felt the need to say that.
You just make yourself
Yeah,
a
I do, yeah. But yeah, you know, I'll go pub, have a drink, go home, whatever. Thought, yeah, sounds nice, catch up with my old mate, and we'll see what happens. So we were just there in a pub, and one of our mutual friends comes along with two of his friends who we don't really know. And he was like, "Oh, what are you guys doing tonight?" And we're just like, "Oh, we're just chilling, gonna have a pint, probably go home." And he's like, "Oh, do you want to stay out a bit longer?" I was like, I mean, yeah, kind of feeling alright now, you know, I've got a drink down me, but I can't drive if I'm obviously staying out. So he's like, yeah, that's cool. Our mate who's not drinking wants to drive to Nottingham, and he wants to go casino. So we live about an hour and a bit away from Nottingham, and I thought, do you know what, let's just do it. I convinced my mate, because he wasn't so keen first, and he was like, okay, fine, let's do it. So all five of us got into this like clapped out fucking, I don't even know what car it was, like it was some old car, like it was rattly as fuck, and I was like, oh, do you know what, I'm here for the long ride, let's go. Got to the casino, went in, lost all my money straight away pretty much, and I was like, do you know what, I'm staying, because obviously these other guys had money. I was giving them advice even though I lost all my money, so who am I to give out advice and gamble?
Yeah, by the way, don't gamble.
Don't gamble, it's fucking done. But I literally only bought 20 quid with me, so when I say I lost all my money, I lost what I was comfortable with losing. I went in there with 20 quid, lost 20 quid, no harm, no foul, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I was just helping my mates with that sort of stuff. And then it gets to about 2 in the morning, half 2 in the morning, we're like, oh, I should probably head back now, yeah, alright. We're on some dodgy ass like country road. We know where we are because of the sat nav, but it took us like an alternative route because there was roadwork. So we were going through some dodgy ass back road, and we just hear a bang, and I'm like, "What is that? Realistically, what is that?"
Realistically, what is that?
So my mate pulls over, or the friend of a friend who was driving, he pulls over, and we were like, "What the fuck is that?" And we were like, oh, we need a torch. So we got all our torches out. We started looking on the side of the road. His fucking exhaust pipe just fell off. His whole exhaust was on the floor. And we were like, right, we've found it, we can fix your car now. So what was meant to be an hour catch up with my mate turned into the longest night of my life.
So did you actually fix the car?
No, we didn't fix the car, of course.
I was gonna
The
say.
end fucking exhaust fell off, bro.
I was gonna say.
We ain't fixing the car, I ain't no mechanic. So we called the my mate had won on his last. He did like a last thing on the roulette. He put like loads of he put like 75p on like loads of different numbers, and he won. He won like fucking £100 or something on his last spin of the night. He's like, oh, I'm done after this.
Yeah.
So he had to spend all of that money that he won on calling the recovery personnel to come and take us home. We got home at 7 in the morning because the maddest thing happened on the way home. So it took about an hour for the guy to pick us up and take us. On the way back, he was like, guys, I've got to go like 40, one of my cylinders has gone.
Oh my god.
So the recovery van that was meant to be our saviour had to go 40 the whole way back, like 30 plus miles. Cylinder gone. He was on the radio. He's like, yeah, my cylinder's gone. I've got 5 people in the back seat. Like, I've got a car on the tow. Oh my god, that was so long.
Yeah, it's not great when a cylinder goes because you've got no power.
No.
No, that doesn't sound fun, mate.
Whenever I think about it now, I'm just like, why didn't I just stay in the pub? Why did I say yes?
That's what I always say. Just stay in the pub.
Yeah.
You'll be fine. But how long ago was that?
That was before lockdown.
Oh right.
So
okay.
like 4 years ago.
Well.
Yeah, 3 years ago. Yeah. It's like just before the first lockdown. But now you guys know a little bit more about me. I guess we'll wrap up the podcast now.
Yeah, and on that note, with that being said and done, it has been the Reasonable Podcast with Charlie and Dolby.
Hell yeah.
Let us know what you think of the podcast, guys.
Yeah, first episode. It was a bit jittery at the start, but I felt like we flowed well towards the, we got in our stride.
Yeah. And that's all I really wanted to happen out of this podcast. Just to
get into our stride.
Get into stride.
Feel the things.
Feel the things and actually just, have a feel for it. And can we really do this, realistically? Yeah. And that's what this, I think has proved.
On the basis of this podcast, I think we can.
I think we can.
Because we've had a good conversation. It didn't really die a lot, if at all. Like, there will be a couple of cuts in this edit, but it didn't really die.
Hopefully there is minimal cuts. Like
we want this to be authentic as possible, but at the start, we didn't even know how to start. We were literally sitting here like, guys. And then
we sat here for like 10 minutes, didn't we? Just like this.
Yeah, just waiting for one of us to start.
Yeah, and we're just like,
And then when it started, we're fine.
Yeah.
So
I think that's the most important part about it. The hardest part about it is just getting anything started. It's like with anything, getting the ball rolling is always the hardest part. But anyway, guys, if you've been listening or watching, viewing this long, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Leave a comment in the comments about anything we've discussed.
Make sure to rate us 5 stars on Spotify podcasts.
Yes, for sure.
Recommend us to your friends. Get the Reasonable Podcast out there in the open world.
Yes.
See what people think of it. We'll get better.
Please follow our TikTok as well. The link's going to be in the description. TikTok, that's going to be a big one. We're going to be doing clips. We're definitely going to be doing clips.
Yep.
And yeah, hope you enjoyed, guys. Take it easy.
We'll see you later.
See you the next one.
Peace.
Bye.